Well, all right, let's get started. International management. Man, we've had some winter weather, have we not? Snow has come in, got a little bit of snow. Maybe you guys been sliding around, so that's good. But I have elected, due to the inclement weather, to present today's lecture via video. I will say this day, January 16th, will not count as a day as far as your attendance grade is concerned. We will not count the 16th for a day of attendance for your attendance grade. So don't worry about that. Well, we're going to press forward today as we look at Chapter 1, Globalization and International Linkage. But before I do that, I would like to go over Canvas with you real quickly, because I have posted week one's work. All right, so here we go. So when you go into Canvas, you are going to see right now I have published the to-do list, week 1, chapter 1 discussion, the international spotlight, chapter 1, and then the chapter 1 quiz. So those are the 4 things. On my screen, you can see, on your screen, you probably can't see yet because I haven't published it yet. At this point, of course, by the time you watch this video, I may have already posted it. But you're going to find a video on how social media is changing the way we do business. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then a link to the United States-Mexico Canada Agreement, the USCMA. And then Chapter 1 lecture presentation. That's the PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to use for today's lecture. So these are the things that are in Canvas. There will be another one here, which will actually be the video that I'm recording right now. You will see it right here at the bottom in Canvas. All right, very good, very good. Again, if you have any questions. Oh, you know what? I need to go back. Hold on one second. Let me go back, because I did want to talk to you about some things. On week 1, chapter 1, on the discussion, you see there are 2 questions for you to respond to in this discussion. Those questions are right here. But I wanted to go over very quickly the requirements for the discussions. So all initial discussion posts are due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m. So your initial post, in order to get full credit, 5 points, you're going to need to post it by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Your initial post in length should be at least 2 paragraphs long, 5 to 6 sentences each paragraph. All right? And then, to get full credit, you'll need to respond to 2 other students. All right, 2 replies to 2 other students are due by Sunday and should be at least 1 paragraph long per reply, 5 to 6 sentences each. So each discussion, guys, is worth 10 points, and if you fail to respond to 2 students, you will be given a partial credit of 5 points. Now, if you don't post your initial post by Thursday, 11:59 p.m., 3 points will be deducted. So another requirement is with your initial post, not your replies to your peers, but with your initial post, you are going to need to have at least 1 scholarly, credible, or news reporting reference to support your post. So that reference, it can be from the internet, it can be from books, it can be from anything that's scholarly, credible, or news reporting, but it cannot be from Wikipedia or other sites like Wikipedia. Now, the reference should be a scholarly, credible, and or news reporting type source. And then please cite your reference using the APA format in your post. All right. Now, you will only need a reference for your initial post. You will not need a source reference for your replies to your peers. All right. Now, your questions there. You got one question, two question. And to be honest with you, you should respond with more than just two paragraphs. That's asking a little bit there. And I'm going to be reading these. And folks, I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't put forth an effort to reply in such a way that your contribution is substantive, all right, it's got some substance to it, then you're not going to get credit for it. So give me a good response to those replies. And then secondly, we have the International Spotlight in your book. Pages 42 and 43, there's an International Spotlight India. What you do is you read the article and then you answer the three questions. You don't need to reply to your peers on this assignment. You just need to answer the question. As a matter of fact, let me look at something real quick. Okay, yeah, there you go. So you have to post your response before you can see your peers' responses. So very good. But you don't have to reply on this assignment. And then you got the chapter quiz. That's just answering questions, and there we go. And again, if you have any questions on that, be sure and send me an email, and I can respond to your questions promptly when I get the email. All right? Very good, very good. Well, let's jump into our chapter 1 today, globalization and international linkage. This is chapter 1. Our objectives for today is to assess the implementations of globalization. I guess that's implication. The implications, not the implementations, but the implications of globalization from countries, industries, firms, and companies. We're going to review the major trends in global and regional integration. We're going to examine the changing balance of global economic power and trade and investment flows among countries. And then lastly, analyze the major economic systems and recent developments among countries that reflect those systems. You know, our world is an interconnected world, all right? From the launch of the internet and the World Wide Web, there have been doors open to the rest of the world. Information access is almost instantaneous anywhere in the world. Think about a small child being kidnapped at a Walmart, for example, heaven forbid. That is something that just a decade or two ago, we would just hear about that on the news, on the evening news. But today, when a child is abducted at a Walmart, instantly an Amber Alert goes out to millions of devices, to thousands of devices. So the information that the child had been abducted is instantaneous. We live in a connected world. Every single one of us have a mobile device, a small personal computer that we carry in our pocket, we wear on our wrist, and it keeps us connected with virtually the entire world. Social media plays a large role in that interconnected world. In your book there, pages 2 and 3, it talks about Evan Spiegel, Evan Spiegel is with Snapchat. And a few years ago, Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook guru, offered him $3 billion for Snapchat. And if he'd accepted that offer, he would have been able to become a billionaire instantaneously. But Evan had a broader perspective of the connected world and the role that social media plays. And he obviously gave Mark Zuckerberg a resounding no on his $3 billion offer. And today, I think when I looked it up, Snapchat's value today is somewhere around $28 billion. So $28 billion is a lot more than just the $3 billion that Mark Zuckerberg had offered. But our interconnected world, social media is playing a huge part of that. The market value of social media applications like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all these social media applications are really yet to be determined. But one thing we do know, folks, is that we live in a world that's interconnected by social media. Facebook, 16% of the users are in Canada and U.S. 84% of users are located outside the U.S. and Canada. Instagram, 30% are inside the United States and Canada. 70% are located outside of the U.S. and Canada. You know, with Facebook, if Facebook were a country, it would be the largest country in the world. 9 million users. And each user has an average of 338 friends. I looked at my friends. The number of friends that I have on my Facebook account. I have 1,004. So I'm above the norm, above the average. How many Facebook friends do you have? So it's just an interconnected world. Instagram, over 3 million people create content on Instagram every month. 70 million photos are uploaded and shared every single day. Instagram. Snapchat reached 100 million active members in less than 4 years. 60% of the 13 to 34-year-olds in the U.S. are on Snapchat. 6 out of every 10 person who is 13 to 34 years old in the United States is on Snapchat. There's 5 billion videos viewed on Snapchat every single day. Whew. You know, folks, we live in an interconnected world. And we have got to realize that this interconnected world, that social media is changing the way that we do business globally. It's changing the way we do business nationally and internationally. Social media has changed how consumers search for products and services. Social media has changed how marketing and getting the word out and advertising takes place. Social media has changed how we do business globally. Now, what I want you to do is in Canvas, there is a video that I want you to watch on this subject matter. And the video there is right here, how social media is changing the way we do business. Now, can I be honest with you? This is a TED Talk, and the guy is not it's kind of boring, but I want you to listen to what he's saying. All right, listen to what he's saying, because it is good stuff and it's good information on how social media is definitely changing the way we do business. All right, so watch that for me. So in the way of introduction tonight or today, management is the process of completing activities efficiently and effectively with and through other people. So that's when we say management, that's what we're talking about. International management, which is what this class is called, international management, is the process of applying management concepts and techniques in a multinational environment and adapting management practices to different economic, political, and cultural environments. It is not really rocket science, but it is a complex, ever-changing environment. But international globalization, internationalization, all of these things are simply, I have a business producing a product or a service, and I'm now going to conduct business to provide my product and or service in other parts of the world than the country that I live. It's these concepts. As a manager, the managerial concepts and techniques, you're applying those to a multinational environment and adapting management practices to the international economic, political, and cultural environments. An organization that has really aided in the internationalization of business is a multinational corporations. These are firms that have operations in more than one country, international sales, and a mix of nationalities among managers and owners. So these multinational corporations, these MNCs, are companies like Apple or Chevron, Johnson & Johnson, good old Coca-Cola, Ford Motor Company, Arkansas's own Walmart, and then Microsoft and Google. So this is international globalization of business. And an international manager is going to be in tune with the economic, political, and cultural environments of the countries that they are in business. Globalization is the process of social, political, economic, cultural, and technological integration among countries around the world. So globalization is bringing everything together. It's not the United States market or the Japanese market or the South American market, but it is a global market. And two things that companies implement in their globalizational strategies is offshoring and outsourcing. Now, when we talk about offshoring, we're talking about the process by which companies undertake some activities to offshore locations instead of in their countries of origin. So let's say that I own a shoe company, all right? And I have a manufacturing plant in Little Rock, Arkansas. So in Little Rock, we manufacture tennis shoes, all right? But I decide that I'm going to offshore a part of the process of manufacturing those shoes. So what I'll do is let's say I'll go to Mexico City. And let's say that I build and open a shoelace plant in Mexico City. So I've offshored the shoelaces of the shoe manufacturing, and shoelaces are now going to be made in Mexico City. The rest of the shoe is going to be manufactured in Little Rock, Arkansas. So what I have done is I've offshored the production of the shoelace to the factory in Mexico City. That's offshoring. Now then, there is outsourcing. And outsourcing is the subcontracting or contracting out of activities to indigenous organizations that had previously been performed by the firm. So here I am in Little Rock, Arkansas, my shoe manufacturing plant. So now I'm not going to offshore the shoelaces, but now I'm going to outsource the shoelace production because there's already a company in Mexico City that manufactures shoelaces. So I contract with them. They're not a part of my company. They're a separate organization. But in essence, I'm going to buy shoelaces from them and put on my shoes. So I have just outsourced the shoelaces. That's the difference in offshoring and outsourcing. So globalization, guys, globalization is distinct. It's different from internationalization in that internationalization is the process of being the process of a business crossing national and cultural borders, while globalization is the vision of creating a one world unit, a single market. So when it comes to global and regional integration, there is an organization that really steps to the forefront when it comes to globalization and internationalization, and that is the World Trade Organization. International business, guys, it's not new. The volume of international trade has increased dramatically over the last decade, but today every nation and an increasing number of companies buy and sell goods in the international marketplace. A number of developments around the world have helped fuel this activity. And the World Trade Organization, this is the global organization of countries that oversees rules and regulations for international trade and investment. So the WTO headquarters, by the way, Geneva, Switzerland. So you've got this organization. You know, the laws that are passed in the United States apply only to the United States. But when you're doing business internationally, the World Trade Organization is an entity that helps to oversee rules and regulations that apply to international trade and investments. Now, take, for example, the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. NAFTA is a free trade agreement between the United States of America, between Canada and Mexico. And this trade agreement, in essence, removed most barriers to trade and investments. Most recently, as of July 1st, 2020, by the way, July 1st is my birthday. So, Sonic, I like to go to Sonic and get an M&M Blast from time to time. So a Sonic gift card, that makes a good birthday present on July 1st. But July 1st of 2020, the United States, Mexico, and Canada agreement was entered into. This USMCA substituted the North American Free Trade Agreement and is mutually beneficial. It's a mutual beneficial win for North American workers, farmers, ranchers, and businesses. So the agreement creates more balanced, reciprocal trade, supporting high-paying jobs for Americans and grow the North American economy. So countries enter into agreements that are in the same geographic location. All right, Canada just north of us, Mexico just south of us. So we have the North American Free Trade Agreement, or the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement. There's another one. It's called the European Union, and this is a political and economic community in Europe consisting of 27 member states. Now, the textbooks state that there's 28 member states, but I did a research. I think there's only 27 member states. I may be wrong on that, but it's 27, 28 member states. And it is specifically for those countries in Europe. All right, you got France and Spain, Portugal there, Italy, Germany, Poland, Sweden. We've got Lithuania, Ireland. These are Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, Austria. So all of these countries are a part of this European Union. And you see they're all geographically in the same place. Not only do we see the European Union, but the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And this also referred to as the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. And this is an agreement of 12 Pacific Rim countries, which include Australia, Brunei, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, the United States, and Vietnam. So let me see here. Where did I go? Right there. Yeah. So here is the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Look at the states around the world, not states, but the countries around the world. And the Pacific Ocean is the geographic area where there is commonality. All right, where there is commonality. And it's important that you understand that these trade agreements are in place, for economic and economic benefit. And when it comes to business, you're opening doors of further revenue and profitability by expanding your market opportunity. All right. Very good. Very good. All right. Let's see here. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Hang on. I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Now, in your textbook, folks, there is, like on page 8, is tracing the roots of modern globalization. You need to be sure and read through that. And then in your book as well, you have got a couple of pages on 14 and 15 talking about the shifting balance of economic power in the global economy. Want you to take a look at those pages and read. Of course, you need to read through the whole chapter. That's a part you're going to read the whole chapter. But what I want to get to at this point is the global economic systems. All right, the three major global economic systems. And, the evolution of global economies has resulted in these three main systems. We're talking about market economies, command economies, and mixed economies. So recognizing the opportunities in global expansion includes understanding the differences in these systems as they affect as they affect consumer choices and managerial behavior. All right, the first one there is a market economy. And this is when private enterprise reserves the right to own property and monitor the production and distribution of goods and services. All right, so this is, I own the store, I own the property, I'm purchasing the inventory, I'm selling it. And one thing about the market strategy is it does rely heavily on what's called the law of demand. All right, the law of demand. Management is particularly effective here since private ownership provides local evaluation understanding opposed to a nationally standardized archetype. So, the law of demand, you've heard the phrase supply and demand. So demand is what the customer needs, is what the customer is demanding. Market economy has a balance between supply and demand, sustains prices, while an imbalance creates price fluctuation. So, if demand for a good or service exceeds supply, then the price will inevitably rise. While an excess supply over consumer demand will result in a price decrease. So in the market economy, the private ownership is in control of those decisions, and the demand of the customer is of great consideration. In contrast, we have, secondly, the command economy. And command economy is compared to a monopoly in the sense that the organization, and in this case it's the government, has explicit control over the price and supply of a good or a service. So, the particular goods and services that are offered in a command economy system are not necessarily in response to a consumer's stated needs, but are determined by the theoretical advancement of society. So that's the big difference in market economy versus command economy. And then we have a third one is mixed economy. And this is a combination of market economy and command economy. While some sectors of this system reflect private ownership and the freedom and flexibility of the law of demand, other sectors are subject to government planning. All right, so these are your three global economic systems. And when you think about economy, when you think about the economy around the world, there are some economic performance and issues of major regions. For example, in North America and in the European Union, in Japan, this major region has what's called an established economy. All right? These economies are established in that they are strong. You know, from the vantage point of development and performance, growth, the world's economy can be evaluated. Let's take a look at it, and we see that there are established economies, emerging economies, and developing economies. North America, the European Union, Japan, these are established economies. You've got Central and Eastern Europe, China, and Asia. These are emerging or developing economies. And then you have South America, the Middle East and Central Asia, Africa. These are developing economies that are on the verge. They're right there on the verge of breaking through and really positively contributing to the economic status of the world. These countries are underdeveloped, maybe. These countries are also maybe have political corruptness that is holding them back. Established economies are kind of the big dogs. The developing economies are, middle ground, and then you've got the emerging economies, those that are on the verge, are like the small dogs, so to speak. All right, take a look at this graph here as we look at how the world economy is expected to grow. And this is the gross domestic product, year-over-year growth estimates and projections by region. So look at the whole world. If you look at the whole world, when it comes to the GDP, it looks like everything is kind of leveled out. I mean, it looks like 2022 there was a little bit, had a little bit more, but 23 and 24, it looks like we're kind of holding our own there. The United States has actually been in a decline over the last 3 years. Look at the emerging and developing Asia on the far right there. It looks like they've experienced some growth. So this is how the world economy is looking and is expected to grow. Now, in your textbooks, guys, there's a lot of information, pages 27, 28, 29. You've got information on page 32 of the Brazilian economic reform and recent challenges. So be sure and read through that as you're reading through your chapter. All right. And folks, with that brings us to the end here of chapter 1 of International Management. And thinking about international management, thinking about the world's economy, the world market, and how technology and technological advances, social media, is making an impact and creating change, which is opening the doors of opportunity for a lot of businesses to move from just a local execution, if you will, to an international application. So very good. If you have any questions, cares, or concerns about Chapter 1 or the assignments and so forth, please send me an email. Let's talk about it. If not, I'll see you guys on Thursdays, fingers crossed, right? We'll see you guys on Thursday, and we'll continue with international management. You guys have a great rest of your evening.